Welcome to the Pineapple Couch with Brob. Today is Monday, January 18th, and this is episode 75 of the Pineapple Couch. 75. And as always, we are brought to you by Miss Marley Sports Fishing. And Big Dog, we got a new sponsor this week.
Oh yeah.
Reynolds Wrap.
Wow.
Reynolds Wrap. You know,
Thank
I
you,
like to make
Reynolds Wrap.
chicken wings. And that's
Yes, you
we're
do.
the best tinfoil to make your chicken wings. So everybody, check out Reynolds Wrap. The
Wow.
Pineapple Couch brought to you by that. Also, thank you to everyone who listens on Spotify and Apple or iTunes Store, Apple Music, whatever it is. You can subscribe, leave 5 stars, leave a question. We'll get to that. And then also check us out on YouTube at the Pineapple Couch. We're having all the episodes will be up there, and I'm gonna start probably cutting them up into like highlights of some sort, so they're not always that long, but we'll have the full ones up there because I like that. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about this last weekend of football, 4 great games, and we have some Deshaun Watson stuff to talk about, and as well as the Chargers hiring a new head coach. We'll get to all of that, but first, let me introduce Mr. Dog, my man, Big Dog. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
It
I'd
is good.
like to.
Oh, go ahead.
Um, so did James Harden? Is that an official fat suit that he wore?
I'm starting to like. I don't understand. Like, maybe he's just like one of those people whose weight can fluctuate like crazy because that.
Because that was like a week.
Yeah, well, folks, you know what we're talking about was I think all of you who are listening that remember the James Harden picture. I believe he was wearing the light blue Rockets like throwbacks, like
Yeah.
the warm up shirt, and he legitimately looked.
His belly was moving every time he
It was
ran.
like Santa Claus. It was that, and there's no fat shaming. I'm just calling it what it was. He was incredibly fat, and all of a sudden he's warming up for the Brooklyn Nets after the trade, and he's skinny again.
And he
Like
got a triple
not,
double.
yeah. I mean, this is just him. So did he eat his way out of Houston?
I think they just absolutely trolled the NBA. This says, I will wear a fat suit till I get traded.
I mean, yeah, he.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
This was one of the most, and maybe I'm misremembering something. One of the most like blatant "fuck you" trade me. Like I'm
It's,
trying to
yeah.
think of anything else. Like if you think about the Anthony Davis, there was a little bit of "fuck you" with him sitting out, and then the "That's all, folks" T-shirt. But this Harden thing just felt different because when Anthony Davis was going through that stuff with the Pelicans, I don't remember like his teammates talking, "Oh, screw Anthony Davis," blah 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 blah. They seem to still like him. The Harden thing, I mean, keep in mind it is John Wall and Boogie Cousins. I love both of them, but they're kind of they have bigger tempers than some others. They were like, "Fuck James Harden," so it's interesting. I I think the obvious answer is that James Harden's a selfish douchebag that just got what he wanted, and now he's gonna be with the Nets, and this is just how the NBA is. Like it's just kind of it weirdly gets depressing as this just keeps happening over and over and over and over again. And the thing, it just never stops because Andrew, the day Harden gets announced to Brooklyn, guess what was trending? Bradley Beal. It's just like one after another, and
do
it's
do they want to keep Kyrie, or are they like is Katie and James Harden secret like we don't really need him now, and we can. I don't know who
I
would accept him, but it's like obviously
I don't
we
know.
who knows.
So I'm 100% with you. They do not need Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, if they could, if they were able to somehow keep their like the players they traded for Harden and just have moved on with Kyrie, I think that would have been a better team. And if you could get like a collection of maybe younger assets, not as big contracts, but good role players for Kyrie, I say you do it. But it's so hard to know what's going on with that team because Kyrie Irving, who knows what the fuck he's thinking given second to second. I saw a report that Katie and him were not close. And then there's just reports that he's into it. And so it's like, I have no idea. Because
Yeah,
you would think KD would not want it to happen because they like signed together. But
yeah.
does the bullshit of Kyrie and the addition of James Harden and KD wanting to win, maybe is he going to just be like, fuck you? I don't know.
I mean, they're already 2 weeks in, and the guy's missed a week. It's unbelievable, and he was so good the first week he played.
Yeah.
And just
Josh was telling me this. You might have been on that, but Kyrie's played 27 of 80 possible games since he signed with the Nets.
27. Oh my God. He's getting paid 36 million a year, right?
Yeah,
I don't
he's
know how he qualify for that if he
he
missed
has,
that
I
many games,
believe,
but
the Klay Thompson type contract, maybe a little more, or maybe a little less because he switched teams. I don't know, but Clay's around like 195, I think. Okay, yeah, that's the NBA for you. We'll talk more NBA later this week. Big Dog, let's talk a little. Let's talk some NFL football. Great weekend of the divisional round. You have the Green Bay Packers beating the Los Angeles Rams 32-18. And just kind of just a dominant performance by Aaron Rodgers. 296 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones puts 99 yards rushing and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 66 yards and a touchdown. Scantling had a big drop, if I'm remembering correctly.
hmm.
But and Lazard had a big drop early on, but then redeemed himself with that big play. Um, the thing, Andrew, before I go to you about this, because I want you to talk about the Packers, um, it's just wild to me, Andrew, how fast and like consistent, I guess, the Rams just offensive decline has been because they weren't the greatest show on turf. That's what the old Rams were, but they were that Kansas City Rams game on Monday Night Football was one of the most high scoring games were really one of the most high scoring and most exciting games I can remember. And the Rams have just kind of shit the bed since then, and there's not really even been like signs of it at all coming back. Like really hasn't been. Like when they win, it's more the ground game. I don't know. I know Todd Gurley was so important, and the ground game is a part of the Rams. But what is like Goff? Goff obviously has declined. People figured him out. Have people figured out McVay? What? What?
I think you kind of because this was like Todd Gurley was so good, like it was historically good when he
Mm-hmm.
was 2 years ago. So I think a little bit of that. I know Cam Akers and Malcolm Brown, whatever their
Yeah.
other running backs have done okay, but I think just it's more of a regression of Jared Goff, and I think maybe a
Why do we
little
think
bit.
that? Why do we
I
think it's
I mean, maybe it's a little bit figured out McVay and stuff, but he seems so like he stares at his one receiver and he just doesn't move around the pocket at all compared to, Mahomes,
I
Wilson,
mean,
Rodgers,
dude,
like those.
Goff is less mobile than like Philip Rivers.
Yeah, and we talked about that, and I think that's actually true. And
Goff, Matt,
that's kind
Goff
of
and Matt
that's
Ryan are
it.
like identical in the pocket. Matt
So
Ryan's a little better.
I think most of it falls on Jared Goff for whatever reason, because I mean 2 years ago he was throwing 4 or 5 touchdowns a game. What it
Hmm.
seemed like, and now the Rams fans hate him. They are all aboard hating him.
So
I
I
can see
believe,
why, because you
yeah,
have insane defense, and you have Woods.
I think
Cup
they
didn't
have two or
play
three
this.
years left though on Goff's deal.
Yeah, they do because it was at least a 5-year deal, and that
It
was
was a
only.
big deal too. So if you're the Rams,
It's kind of
how
like
do you
Carson
move
Wentz. Like,
on?
what do you
Do you,
do?
what if you, what if, I mean, I know that Sean McVay would do this in a second, swap Goff and Wentz.
Oh yeah, I would imagine the Rams having Deshaun Watson.
And what if you like swap Goff and Garoppolo or Goff and Matt Ryan?
Do you think Goff could be good anywhere else? Like, do you think
There's
Shannon
one
maybe
place.
with the
There's one
Niners?
place I think he would be really good. New England. But I don't know. I
I
actually
don't know,
don't
man.
know.
That guy has just been turned
I,
me off the last year and a half. It's just sits there in the pocket as a statue and then
and the
just
thing,
does weird stuff.
I
If it's
somewhat
not perfectly scripted out, it's never good.
well, I hold on to hope somewhat of Goff because honestly, what will happen is you'll just see a Rams game where McVay has just a great coaching performance. The ground game's dominant, and Goff doesn't have to do that much. And the Rams are also very good against the spread. So I feel like that's why I give Goff kind of not as hard on him as others. But yeah, that's a serious problem. Like that, the offense was stagnant. Aaron Donald was clearly not 100%. But let's get to this. I mean, Andrew, this Packers offense is a fucking juggernaut.
The Bills and Packers have been the best football teams the past 5, 6 weeks, both complete on both sides.
Yeah.
And They just look really good. And I think I'm leaning the Packers next week over Brady. Um, don't love it, but I think the Packers are going to win next week.
I see. I think I'm on the Brady. I'm on the Bucks train. I think that they're just figuring it out more and more. But each week, as the Packers play like this great and stuff, and we see this, it gets harder and harder to say that. And if you think about it, what stopped the Packers last year was a historically great Niners defense and run game, which is the perfect thing to throw at Rodgers because what you're a historically great defense, really. And then the run game was dominant, so he's on the sideline a lot. So maybe this is because that's really why I don't fully believe in the Packers this whole year. I've held that game against the Niners against them because it was just a fucking beat down.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth on LaFleur, you know? But this Bucs team, while it is good, and I picked them to go to the Super Bowl before the playoffs, and I'm going to stick with it, that defense, Andrew, is not that Niners defense.
Is the thing is, it's like it can be close to that defense one week. You just don't know what you're gonna get, and
Mm.
it's still even though they did well yesterday, but it's like, come on, Drew Brees. We knew
Yeah.
that was his last game. It was just slow. It was bad, but
But the thing with Bucks Packers, when you think about it, if you think the Bucks are going to win, you're kind of buying into the idea that Brady has just created this culture in the last 4 or 5 weeks of they're just all in and playing because the defense, yeah, Drew Brees wasn't. We'll get to that, but I don't know. The Brady is he's just Brady, dude. It just kind of like I
so
saw.
so I'm basically just asking because would the Patriots still be in the playoffs today if Brady was on the stayed with them?
I'll say no because I think the Bucks and Chiefs are that good, and the Patriots' weapons are just god awful,
Right.
and a lot of
Is
their
this
defense was
more
out
of
because of COVID.
like I mean because the Bucks do have a lot more talent than
Oh, this is
they
I
but
think
it
Brady has won the Brady Belichick thing.
yeah.
I mean, I still think
He
Belichick's the
easily
best
has, but it's
coach.
just like how much has Brady helped this? Do you think? Because you think you throw in,
No, I
not
mean,
Jared
dude,
Goff or like a
Jameis
Dak
Winston last
Prescott.
year. I think Brady, if you take Brady off this team and you put
Dak Prescott
Goff
on.
or Wentz or Prescott is good enough to where they would probably be at that two. Like, but I don't think the playoff ceiling is there with Prescott.
Right?
And Brady has just looked good this year.
I mean, Brian, he's 43,
Yeah,
and
let's just go to that. We'll talk about that game right now. We'll go a little out of order. I'll pull up the stats, but keep going.
I just, I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, this guy's insane. This guy wants to play till he's 45, and here he is, 43, his 14th championship or conference championship game, and
It's
he
fucking unreal.
still looks good.
He
He
looks
still
so
looks
good.
young. He's Jennifer Anderson. He's just getting better, better looking, younger.
Yeah, it's wild. So yeah, the Bucks beat the Saints 30-20 in a game that was really like Brady played well, but it was all about the Bucks defense getting turnovers and the incredible field position they had against the Saints last night. Drew Brees threw 3 picks. The highlight play of the game actually for the Saints was a Jameis Winston sighting, a little
Yeah.
revenge touchdown, like a 54-yard touchdown to
Revenge. That's a good
Traquan
point.
Smith, Jameis Winston, and maybe a little glimpse of the Saints' future right there. The Saints, though, they don't have Taysom Hill in this matchup, which is tough, but I just think that the Bucks were going to win this game. I don't think you beat the Bucks this Brady 3 times in a row. And this is what we've talked about with the Saints, and I've been comparing them to the Rockets for the past 5. It's just now I feel bad about it because Breeze is old and whatever, but it's been like this for a while. This was a long time coming. And
I
now this was the game that kind of like put it in everyone's faces, but it's been like this for like almost 4 years.
because I was gonna say, bro, I was like, dude, the Saints, like the second half, like they just built that culture where they know they're just gonna kind of lose this point in the playoffs, and it's just like you can see Kamara, you can see their defense. They're like, what the hell do we have to do? And
Yeah,
then you
because their
got
defense and running game is unbelievable.
their defense is incredible. I mean, for the most part. But you
I mean,
got
you can't
Brees
put
throwing three
anything of that.
picks.
You can't have that because
Brees,
the
you lost the
worst. Okay,
turnover
Andrew, the
four by
worst
four.
field position the Bucks had all last night off a turnover was when they were on like the 50-yard line. That was the worst they had off
Yeah.
field position off a turnover, which is crazy. So, um, talking about one thing I wanted to mention about Tom Brady, which I forget who said this. I'm copying someone who said this and I'm not giving them credit because I can't remember. But they compared this Brady season to The Last Dance, like the Michael Jordan document of how Jordan just
Okay.
kind of he was remembering who talked shit, who counted him out, and was on that fuck you tour. And I would say Tom Brady is the closest athlete to Michael Jordan. I mean, him and those are the
I
two.
mean, if he gets
So
7, he's
yeah. So I would say I'm counting on a big Brady performance the next 2 weeks, and I could be wrong, but that's what I'm looking at. Andrew, is Jameis Winston the quarterback of the future for the Saints?
he is. I think I even saw. I
And
mean, who knows his mouth
oh,
reading, but it was
I
like
yep.
Breeze like patted him because Breeze knew it was like, dude, it's your team now, and it's
Mhm.
kind of cool to see. So
I
I
like
think
I
Jameis is the
like the
guy,
Jameis. I
and
like
then,
that.
then of course Taysom Hill will be there too,
Yeah.
so for 30%. So
Sean Payton having those two because Jameis Winston has a cannon. He is such a fun tool for Sean Payton to use in that offense, and you can cut down the turnovers with Jameis, which in the Saints' style of offense should be kind of easy because Bruce Arians is all about throwing the ball down the field, or was with Jameis, and the Saints are more conservative. They do
it's
take the deep
checkdowns,
shots,
yeah.
but a lot of checkdowns. He's had a year to learn the system. I'm optimistic about Jameis going forward.
So am I, because I mean, if he cuts the interceptions in half or even like a third, you get
He threw for
10 or
5,000
12.
yards.
Yeah, I mean, you have 30, 40 touchdown potential and 5,000 yard
Mhm.
potential. It's you got
Yeah.
a defense. Saints are good.
Yeah. Did you see the video that came out after the game where it was Brady? It was Breeze's family was out on the field, and
Yeah,
Brady went out
it's
and was
awesome.
talking to Drew Brees, hugged him, was actually threw a touchdown to Drew Brees' kid, said like said hello and goodbye to the whole family, and that made me really sad.
It did
The
too, because
last
it's like I know we've had our differences, especially you with Drew Brees and Philip
I
Rivers, but
like Drew Brees. I resent
yeah.
people we don't need to get into it.
But
Not the
when you
time.
see the end, it's just really sad.
Well, think about what we've had to see in the last couple weeks, Andrew. It's been breaking my heart. So we get Big Ben basically crying at the end of the game on the
Yeah,
sideline, which I'm not a big Steeler. I hate the Steelers and I don't love Big Ben, but I mean I've been watching him forever. I like watching him. And then
yeah.
you get Rivers in his post game press conference, not knowing if he'll come back, but very emotional, like Phil always is. And then you see the meeting of Breeze and Brady, and it's just like those four guys, Peyton Manning and Rodgers, those were our quarterbacks,
Yeah,
and Eli.
and Eli, yeah, but I
That's
don't
the
know.
group.
It's weird that
It
Breeze will be
sucks.
gone, and Brady, he's still moving. Like he's 2 or 3 years old, and he's still going. Like what the
I,
hell
I
does he
I'm just at
do?
the point with Tom Brady where
I don't
in the
think he's ever
beginning,
gonna retire.
I know, but at the beginning when he was like he always beat the Chargers, so I wasn't a giant fan. And then it just got to a certain point where it was like, well, fuck it, just keep winning. And it's like I get really mad
Yeah.
when like a Joe Schmo quarterback like Joe Flacco or Eli or Nick Foles get a Super Bowl. Cause like, God fucking damn it, that schmuck got it, and Phil can't even get in. That's how I think about everything. But it's I just lost my train of thought on that. Let's
There's
bring it back. Let's bring it. Let's no. We're doing this
Bree.
live.
Okay, so we were talking about like Breeze, and you were giving me all these comparisons to quarterbacks, and um,
I don't know. I guess I'll
you'll
have to
never find out, I guess.
yeah, we'll never
We were
find
really
out.
sad about Drew Brees, that's all.
Yeah, it's been a good time.
So do you think does this make this? I'm going to translate to sports. So now I know Drew Brees is not LeBron James, but when LeBron James retires, are you going to have that little ounce of you will be like,
No,
I'm going to
no,
miss the
no,
guy.
nope, not gonna miss him one bit.
That's not true.
Evil.
That's not
Dude,
true.
Andrew, you know
You
that
miss
is
the
not
athletes.
I know I will be so glad when
No, I
LeBron
don't
is
think that's
gone.
true.
No, because what I want is
Because
LeBron to stop
but he
playing
makes it
basketball
fun
and
though.
he'll be irrelevant. He'll be irrelevant. And then I want to see him
Well,
try to have a TV career and fail. He will fail.
Okay, but you're still gonna like you love
How
it
dare you utter LeBron James' name in the same sentence as Drew Brees?
though. He'll miss him. Don't worry.
Chairman James. No, I won't.
Chairman James. I won't miss Chairman James. I'll miss LeBron James. Just a
You
little bit.
no, I won't at
I don't
all.
even root for the guy, but it's like you gotta have.
You
I
miss
mean,
Dwayne
it's
Wade? I don't.
I miss Dwayne Wade. I guess
Not
I liked him
really.
around. I don't. I didn't really. I haven't thought about Dwayne Wade that much recently, but now that you brought it up, I'm a little sad that
I
he's
miss
gone.
I miss Prime Pau Gasol
I miss
more than
Derek Jeter.
I don't really care about Derek Jeter. You know
Oh,
who I miss?
who? What are you gonna say?
Tim Lincecum.
We missed him too.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a good guy. Okay, let's get back into football. It's a little free flowing episode today, folks. Hope you're along for the ride.
What the fuck did you say? What were you gonna say? Like I felt like he was on the tip of my tongue, and then
I don't know
I
what I
forgot
said.
too.
Um, yeah, we'll just move on because I was making some sort of grand statement. I'm sure. I'm sure it was negative in some way. Okay, we got next game to talk about. Hit the music. Hit the motherfucking music. The Stallion rides. That's what he does. He rides. The Stallion rides and he steamrolls the Ravens 17-3. Lamar Jackson leaves in the fourth quarter with a concussion, but it was out of grasp at that point. The Bills look dominant. Andrew, I'll just say to you, I'm shocked that Lamar didn't win. Like, I'm shocked that his style, like, he got eliminated in the playoffs. I am absolutely stunned
You
that,
you're
I'm
being
not. You know why?
sarcastic.
I'm being 100% sarcastic because I said last year that Baker was better than him, took so much heat, still think he is. And I said that Josh Allen was better, took heat, still, like, I mean, that's the most obvious fucking thing in the history of the world that Josh Allen is better than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Josh
It's
Allen's
not
winning that one.
close. It is not close. Anyone who has ever disagreed with the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen thing, you're a fool. You're a fool. Josh Allen is the Stallion. Hit the motherfucking music one more time. Yeehaw. The Bills. Andrew, what do you got on this?
So I actually was nervous about this game just because I was like, shit, because I locked in the Bills and I want the
Remember when I
Bills to win
said
so
Bills by a
bad.
billion?
Yeah.
Pineapple couch lock of your life? Yeah, that was me. But you took
That's
the
the only
Bills.
reason, just because it's like I picked the
You took
Bills. I
the
locked
Bills.
the Bills.
Yeah.
But it was just the playing Lamar Jack, because usually I bet on Lamar to do God's work, so then, but
Yeah,
then I
thank you.
went
God
against
bless.
him. It doesn't matter. The Stallion. Come on now. I didn't have to worry. I watched a quarter or two. I was like, oh, this guy's not going to lose. And they have
He's
a good
incredible.
defense.
He's
And I
incredible.
have confidence in him. I have so much confidence in him. Even when he does his erratic thing and he almost fumbled at the 50-yard line
Yeah.
again.
But that's the ride. That's the ride. Him and Stephon Diggs are just absolutely incredible together.
Their chemistry, they had a funny little
Yeah,
post game.
post game.
I
They love
loved
each
him.
other. They're in love. I love Josh Allen. He's been
I
my
love the Buffalo Bills. I want the Bills Packers so bad. I want the Bills Packers so bad.
what would be
I would love the
actually
Bucs, but it's like I just
no,
the
yeah.
Packers and Bills.
Okay, let me pitch this to you though. Let's say we got Bills Bucks and the Bills after 20 years of Tom Brady beating them in the division and not letting them in. He changes teams and they beat him in the Super Bowl.
That's a good narrative.
I
I
think
think I'd be
the
rooting for Tom
Bills
Brady
should
if
be the
that happened.
favorite right now. I think the Bills should be the
Um,
favorite. They're not. They're definitely not. But I think the
the
Bills
second.
right now are the best team. And I would put Packers 2, Chiefs 3, Bucks 4. Chiefs are at 3 because of just the Mahomes factor. And
But
they
if he's in,
should
Mahomes
be.
is the number
They,
one.
yeah,
You got it. You have to do it.
yeah.
Mahomes. I mean,
But
they're
they also
24
haven't
and
looked that
one.
great. They just have not looked that great.
They haven't, but they're still 24 and one or whatever the last 25 games.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Wouldn't it be
So
nice?
it's like, yeah, it would be fucking nice.
Um, I mean, obviously with the Ravens, that 104-yard interception return on Lamar was hilarious. I gotta say, that was
That
awesome.
made my night.
That was
Called you for that.
it was great. I was jumping up and down. Um, let's go to the next game, Andrew. We had Chiefs Browns. The Chiefs. What was final score of that one?
It's
Pulling it up.
22-17. Chiefs won.
22-17. Mahomes leaves in the third quarter with a concussion. The Chiefs were really controlling that game. There was some huge missed opportunities by the Browns, specifically the fumble into the end zone by Higgins that resulted, instead of getting a touchdown, you had a touchback. That's a dumb rule, but we don't need to get into that. And so the Chiefs were kind of blowing them out. And then Mahomes goes out, and the sliver of hope comes for the Browns. They're going, Chad Henne's in the game, and the Browns have a chance, down 5, with about 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to drive and win this game. And I think Romo and Nance were on this game, and what they said, this is the drive of Baker's life. It was. And they came up short. They did. But what a turnaround from the Browns team this year, specifically Baker Mayfield individually. From last year to this year, he's been a lot quieter. He's been working his ass off. I love what I saw out of Baker this year, Andrew.
Yeah, he's definitely, like you said, he was much more quiet and mature, and he was improved in general.
The coaching.
I'm still not like super impressed with them, just because I feel like the ball. Like I know they're 11-5, and for once, a lot of things kind of went the Browns' way this year. And even yesterday, when Mahomes went to, I mean, they were losing 19-3 with missed field goals. They were getting their ass kicked. The Chiefs are about to win 40-10, and then Mahomes comes down. But it's like you'd rather be lucky than good. I get that.
Yep.
And I'm not taking away anything, but it's like they were the only team in the playoffs I think that had a negative point differential throughout the whole year, and it's just like because they won a lot of 10-7 games, but I don't know. I still don't know how good Baker Mayfield is. I'm gonna be honest. I know you like it. I don't know how much I trust that guy. I think he's
next season is when next season is when we find out.
I think he's got so many weapons. I mean, he's got 2 of the top 5 running backs. According to every time they show the offensive line, he's got 3 of the top 5 offensive linemen. You got Landry, who's good. You got Njoku, and then you have a really good defense with probably like 5 or 6 first-round picks in the past 3 or 4 years.
I think I don't. Okay,
you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, because I think a lot next year. It's the ball is in his, like, he needs to have another year of this.
Yeah.
But the thing is I thought. And I'm not saying you thought this at all. I'm just saying going into this season, I still felt like a lot of people were unfairly like saying that Baker was like going to be a bust. And it was like, that's not true. Like, he's Baker Mayfield. You can say what you want. Maybe he doesn't have the high ceiling, but Baker Mayfield is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. If you look at the other quarterbacks in that draft, I mean, Josh Allen and Lamar are the 2 best, but I would put Baker right in that category, right there with Lamar. I give the edge to Baker, but I certainly understand why people give the edge to Lamar for the what he can do on his feet. I just think that this season was big because you weren't saying that, Andrew, but people were legitimately like, this guy can't be an NFL quarterback. And I don't think that's what you're saying. You're just saying you don't know if he's going to be like an MVP, right? Or
I mean, I see him
but he's an NFL quarterback.
I see him like 15th quarterback, kind of just the middle of the road. I mean, if he can game manage, and you have Nick.
He could be a Matt Ryan.
Exactly. But they just really didn't impress me that much this year, the Browns, because but you also have to like say, because they're the Browns and they finally got lucky, so maybe that is something to do with him, because usually everything goes against the Browns, but not that impressive to me this year. Yeah,
like I said, next year is just going to be the consistency of it will answer a lot of questions. But I am a big fan of Kevin Stefanski, their coach, and the combination of that defense, which defensively, their secondary definitely needs a lot of work. But when you got that front 4 with a guy like Myles Garrett on it, it's a good place to start. And again, I think that it's going to develop over time. That running game, that defense, and Baker playing adequate and maybe a little above that is going to be a perennial playoff team for the time being, because the running game specifically, that just is such an asset to have for Baker, who's so good in the play action. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think of them next year? You think they're going to go like 7-9 or like 6-10? I think they're like.
So I was actually just going to ask you, who Who do you like the most? Do you like the Browns more than the Steelers and the Ravens?
I do.
So you see another like 11-5 year.
I see. Yeah, I think you're gonna see the Browns Ravens will both be like one will be 12-4, one will be 11-5, maybe 10-6, something like that. And so it'll be a toss up between those two teams. Um, the Steelers, I don't know. The Steelers, they just the cliff that
Who
Big
knows
Ben.
with Big Ben and
I
the
just
running
don't know.
thing?
Yeah.
I
Um,
see the Browns like same thing, like 10-6. But I think if Baker can take another leap, I mean, I think they're talented enough to be a 12-4, 13-3 teams, which is weird to
yeah.
say.
Well, if Baker could take a leap, that team in the playoffs again, they got to fortify the defense a little more, specifically the secondary. With Baker taking it, that's a Super Bowl caliber team. That running game in the playoffs can break teams' backs, and so
Yeah.
we'll see what they build off of on the season. Um, but yeah, the AFC North is going to be really fun to watch for the
Burrow's
Lamar.
coming back
Oh,
next year.
oh my God! I didn't even think. Well, what if Burrow gets involved for that division? I don't know. Could be. Could be. Could be. Um, Big Dog, let's talk about Deshaun Watson. Or did you have anything else on the games this weekend?
We can talk about Deshaun. I like Deshaun.
Yeah,
What's that?
Deshaun Watson. So when DeAndre Hopkins got traded last offseason, everyone was like, what the fuck? Apparently, his anger level from a scale of 1 to 10 was a 2. And then this past week, in the past 2 weeks or so, apparently it's a 10 now because of his not involvement in the hiring process and GM, yada, yada, yada. He really wants Eric Bieniemy, and they finally interviewed him today, so maybe that'll help change things. But he has basically made it seem like he wants out and wants to be traded. So, Andrew, I'm going to just pitch you a fastball right down the middle and let you tee off on this bad boy because this is a juicy question. What team do you want Watson to go to as a football fan?
Um, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, I think of, would imagine if he went to the 49ers, how good they would be, what
It
they could do.
would be
I
a
mean, if
cheat
they
code.
had replace him with Jimmy Garoppolo, then you get that defense back and everything.
If they did that and Kittle stays healthy next year, Kittle would break Kelsey's receiving record
Oh,
this
he
year.
would look good in red and gold too.
Yeah,
Oh
that's,
my
I think, the
God.
most fun spot.
Um,
The Dolphins.
I mean, 'cause Tua's entertaining enough. There's enough entertainment there, so I feel like
You have more hope on Tua than I do. I'm
I
not.
would do it if they could
Oh,
trade for
okay.
him, but I
I'm
feel
trying to
like
think of other spots. What
the
about?
Bears.
Ooh, the
He could
Bears
fix
would
the
be
Bears. That would be
freaking
good.
nice. New York Giants.
Ugh, stay away, Deshaun.
Yeah, I would stay
But I
away.
would like to say, so as much as I love Deshaun and I love him. I am so sick. This is the like NBA aspect of the NFL. It's like, okay, I realize they traded DeAndre Hopkins and that sucks. And you signed a huge extension last year, okay? So you are getting paid. And here you are complaining about like you're gonna try to do you just signed an extension the year later, now you're complaining, saying, I'm mad, I want this, I want that. And it's like I get that,
But it doesn't. You can't do that as a
but
quarterback.
you can't do that for anyone. You signed a 4 or 5 year contract and you can't be a year later be like, oh, never mind, I want to go make a super team because a couple other it's like that's great. So does everyone else in the world. And it's like, yeah, the Texans are kind of a joke, but they're also kind of not because they've made like
They've
seven
won.
or eight
And they've
playoff
like won like
appearances.
4 playoff games in the
And
last
it's,
10
I
years
mean,
or something.
remember the Arian Foster days with Matt Shaw? They were always in the playoffs. They won the AFC South
Gary
for several
Kubiak.
years. Gary Kubiak, exactly. And so, like, the idea that, I mean, the Texans have, the past decade, have had a much better decade than 20 football teams, I would say. When, I mean, they're all
It's on.
consistent
Yeah.
in the
Okay,
playoffs.
dude. Think about this. When
So
you're a quarterback, you can't do that. You can't do
and
that.
especially as the quarterback, it's not, but it's even just like the wide receiver. It's like, it's James Harden wearing a fat suit to get to it. It's Anthony Davis to do this. He's like, I'm going to
That-
pretend to be
it-
hurt. And it's like,
It's
you're the
it's
second year in a
it's too late
contract.
for the NBA. It's
And,
too late. It's
and
too
it's like,
late. We can't fix it. The NFL though is where they
this is the starting point because if Deshaun Watson could do it, and it's like okay, a
can't let it happen.
superstar quarterback, then it's just everyone's gonna want to play with their friends. And it's like, I understand that, but it's a business and it makes it
Yeah.
more complicated. It's just not how it works.
And the other thing is the NFL players are going to try and do this, and they don't like, for example, a thing LeBron does, thing KD did, was they would sign 1-year contracts essentially to keep the pressure on the organization to spend money, go into the luxury tax, yada, yada, yada. You can't do that in the NFL. You need to sign a multiple year contract because of the injury risk. And if you're a quarterback, you kind of need, if you're going to sign that contract, you got to stay there for the long haul. How do you
And,
think it works? How did Philip Rivers get Joey Bosa?
and then, exactly. Also, it's like, he was there. Like, I mean, they drafted him as a rookie and he played for them for 3 years. And like, yeah, he tore his ACL, but it's like, you were there for 3 years and then you signed the extension, and then they gave you all the money. It's like, dude, you are the
The Houston
franchise for that
Texans.
team.
You
You
just
are the
can't.
Texan right now. And it's just like, it's a bad look when you have DeAndre Hopkins and that. And it's like, I realize you should be involved in like the head coaching thing because you are the superstar. I get that, but
They're
I think
interviewing Bieniemy
they're,
today, so
they're just playing with fire. And then half the thing, it's like, well, you realize this guy's got an AFC championship next week. So it's like once they are done in 2 or 3 weeks, he will be answering his phone call. The same thing we saw with the Chargers the day after Staley, after the
mhm,
Rams lose, he becomes the coach.
yeah. Um, I just think it's a very dangerous game in the NFL. I really hope it doesn't get to the point where like quarterbacks are saying this if you're not like getting them weapons. I really don't like that. I like I said though, I just think it's past the point of return, no return for the NBA. Hopefully the
Because
NFL
there's
can figure
four
that
more
out.
years. I mean, he signed a 5 year deal, and this is like he has 4 years left or something like that. I mean, that
It
is
was signed
such
last
a
offseason, correct?
yeah, and I mean it's such a long time. It's so early in the contract to already start playing that game.
Yeah, it's not a good look. So we'll see what they do there. Let's go to the Chargers, big dog. They got Brandon Staley, defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams, who had the number one defense and number one scoring defense this season. He is going to be taking over the Chargers. First off, my impression, good to have him to work with that trio on defense, Bosa, Derwin, and Kenneth Murray. Those guys are freaking animals. And so maybe getting them in a smarter scheme than Gus fucking Edwards, what that
Gus
dumbass
Bradley.
Gus Bradley, whatever the fuck that dumb shit is doing. He's probably still not audible from that Patriots playoff game 2 years
Still
ago.
got seven defensive
Fuck that
backs.
guy. He's
Oh.
such an idiot. Um, but I like getting some sort of I like the move because I like what he could potentially do with our defense. Obviously, we need Derwin James to be healthy, but my first thing was like, we didn't get an offensive guy to pair with Herbert, and then you sent me a tweet. Do you want to recap that basically
Okay.
for the listeners?
So Peter Schrager, I don't know. He's some reporter, but he basically said the concerns with Brandon Staley being a defensive coach and Justin Herbert being a young quarterback. Staley was a highly decorated high school quarterback in Ohio, played quarterback at Dayton, and has connected with quarterbacks at the community college, D3, D1, and NFL levels. I like to hear that.
I do like to hear that. And one thing that also calmed me down, I saw a tweet that was like, not, I was never to put, I was never mad about that. I was like, oh, good. I
We were
mean,
just set on B enemy, so
yeah, Bieniemy or Dub DeBully, right? The guy in Buffalo,
Brian
their
DeBoer,
offense
yeah.
coordinator. Um, but basically, what calmed me down is I saw a tweet that was essentially like, hey, if anyone's freaking out about the Chargers hiring this guy who's a defensive coach, I promise you that any offensive coordinator he brings in will be better than Anthony Lynn and Shane Steichen calling plays.
And they're going to be correct about that. I like it because it's like
There's a thing.
it's
There's a rumor they might keep that dumbass offensive coordinator.
no way. This guy, I think this guy's going to bring in like his
Clean
own.
house.
I
Clean
exactly. I
house
want a clean.
completely.
I want new vibe, and then you get someone from like McVay. Um, I want a clean house there.
I want a complete clean house. I want no resemblance of that stupid fucking frog in that locker room. And you know what's good, Andrew, is that hopefully we can have this guy, Brandon Staley. Keep wanting to say Daly, but Brandon Staley as our coach for hopefully like next 5-6 years. Get a couple rings with Herb, and then when it's time for him to move on, we bring in Coach Rivers. And Rivers and Herbert just
Why don't we bring him in just for offensive coordinator next year?
I I would do that, obviously, but two things. One, the Colts want him back. Two, they do. I'm not like the Frank Reich said that. I'm not just bullshitting that.
I hope
And
so.
he did better in the playoffs than Lamar.
I didn't even say anything. You're getting mad at me, Brian.
I'm defensive.
I know. I haven't said one thing. I said they hope he comes back, and then here you are
And he's
snapping at
also
me. So I
accepted
didn't even.
a private high school, Catholic high school in Alabama head coaching job for when he retires. So he said, you'll either see me in a helmet or in a hat on the sidelines in South Alabama, which I'm going to become an avid fan of that football team.
Alabama.
That's going to be like the new NFL for me. That high school football league with Phil as a coach. I'm going to find a way to stream it. It's going to be great.
Would you hire Jason Garrett as just your offensive coordinator?
No, I would pay Jason Garrett to not come close to my team.
I'm so glad they didn't get
If
him.
he got,
That's the main reason I got
like,
him, because it's like they didn't get some coach with weird like they got someone not many people really know anything is other than he's like the Rams defensive coordinator. And it's just going to be a different, I think, kind of like a Kevin Stefanski vibe. You're just going to see a different young dude be like, all right, he's kind of
yeah,
smart.
I like the young hire. He's a 38-year-old. I don't know. Youth seems to be trending in football today. Oh, one question to you, Andrew. So, Belichick, we would both say, is the best coach we have seen in our lifetime in the NFL, correct?
Yes.
Before Patrick Mahomes went to the Chiefs with Andy Reid, was Sean Payton number two? Or was Andy Reid number two?
I would say Sean Payton because Andy Reid
But now
did.
is Andy Reid number two that you've ever seen?
Well, the
See what I'm
recency
saying?
bias, absolutely, because when he went for it on fourth down in
Oh, it's
midfield
nuts
with
on the
Chad
table.
Henne on 4th and 1, oh, Andy, you beautiful man.
Yeah. That is, first of all, a play the Chargers would never, if they would never go for it ever there. But if they did, they'd also like run it up the gut and lose 3 yards with their small running
They
back.
would have run it up. They would have just exactly.
They would have gotten Darren Sproles out of retirement to run up the middle on Ray Lewis.
Used
God.
all 3 timeouts to get him
Folks,
over there.
this is me and Andrew reference this all the time, but just for you, those listening, there was a giant game. I think this was honestly like eight,
It was
10
like
years ago, maybe. But basically, it was a big game. I don't think it was a playoff game, but it was a lot of
for the
playoff
Chargers, if they
implications.
won, they would have been in the playoffs or kept
Yeah.
their playoffs
And
alive.
so basically, two things happened in this game. The Chargers give up a third and 34, Ray Rice halfback screen. And then they get the ball back, and basically the Chargers have an opportunity. If they get a first down, they have a very good chance of winning the game. And so in the prime of the Ravens defense, with Terrell Suggs, Haloti Ngata, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, the whole gang, the Chargers decide to basically say, hey, we're running it up the middle. And instead of using Michael Turner, LaDainian Tomlinson, they chose Darren Sproles to run it up the middle, and they lost 5 yards and lost. So that's what we always bring up because that's just the most Chargers play call of all time.
LT, Lorenzo, Michael Turner too.
And yeah, I said Tolbert. Yeah.
And Tolbert, but Tolbert, same thing.
Yeah, it was just like out
They
of
had
everyone, you chose him. I'd rather have them run like fucking Malcolm Floyd.
Vincent
Mr.
Jackson,
Malcolm Floyd,
Antonio
Mr.
Gates,
Mediocrity. Antonio Gates was so damn good.
best tight end I've ever seen.
I agree.
And Tony and Rob
Gronk.
Gronkowski.
Yeah. Gates is just the reason that he was just so fun to watch for me was one, I was obviously a Chargers fan, but he was just so like he was never breakaway fast, but he was just perfect at running routes and the whole idea of tight ends boxing out cornerbacks, linebackers like basketball to catch passes. He was just perfect at it. I'm pretty sure him and Rivers have the most
They do.
touchdowns ever between a tight end quarterback combo.
They do.
Damn right they do.
All
So
reliable.
old reliable. Big Dog, how you feeling about the Bucs?
Oh, I like them. I like it. I like what they see right now.
Mm-hmm. I
I
think
like
Drew
because they
Holiday is like a
had
welcome addition.
they rushed it 17 times with Fournette and they did 16 times with Ronald Jones yesterday. So I felt like because usually they're
Oh,
so
I
pass
was
heavy, and
I
I
like
was
the Bucs too, but
impressed.
I was referencing your Milwaukee Bucks there.
What about the Bucks? They
I like Holiday. Holiday has been great for them.
Drew Holiday's great.
Oh, and quickly, thoughts and prayers
Do
to
you
our guy
think?
Karis LeVert.
Yeah. So it's
That's
his
he had a
kidney. What
growth.
happened?
They found some sort of lump or growth on his kidney very, very early on in the process. So hopefully he is going to be okay, but he is out
Can't you
indefinitely.
like reverse a trade or something? Isn't that like illegal? Like, do they not know that
I
when they
that
traded him?
was
Because it
my
happened like
first that was
two
my
days
first
after.
question too. I I assume you can, but maybe they just didn't. I don't really know.
It
I
happened
don't
in base.
understand.
Padres got in trouble for that one time. They had to send people back because they hit a couple medical records from the Marlins and
Padres, Padres, Padres.
Dirty Dogs.
Um,
But do you think the Nets are the easy favorite still? And then it's Bucks, or is it
in
Celtics?
the
Nets
East,
Celtics now.
I would throw Nets as the favorite, and then Celtics and Bucks and Sixers and Heat, probably in
What's
that order.
the Eastern Conference Finals today?
Nets, Celtics.
It's okay, honest. Just
I
taking
just
receipts.
We'll see. Jalen Brown's looked really good this year. Another thing that's pissed me off. Why does everyone keep like putting out this question? Can Curry average 30 a game? Can he do it? It's like,
Just
motherfuckers.
he's the
Did
guy
you
who
forget like his whole career? Like,
he's the reason the NBA is the NBA today.
it's just like you have fucking Max Kellerman. He's like, I'm just not sure that Curry can average 30 a game and like play. It's like, what?
I
He
wonder what he
went
said saying about
73 and
Tom
9.
Brady making another NFC Championship game. I wonder
Oh,
what
he's
Max had to say
Max
today.
Kellerman is a clown.
Because for
He
five
is a
years he's been
clown,
pushing
man.
that. He's been trying to say for 5 years that Tom Brady's off the cliff, and it's like, okay, he's not Tom Brady of 2007. You're right, Max.
Max Kellerman, like,
He's
dude,
the,
think about what job that guy has and how bad he is at it.
he chose Andre Iguodala
It
over
is.
Stephen Curry.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, he's just a fucking moron. Think about it. The only reason that Max Kellerman, I think, still has a job is because people hate him so much that they love to watch Stephen A. Smith just make him look like a bitch every day.
Morning.
Because if you think about, like, okay, wait, really quickly, let's talk about ESPN. The decisions they make to put people in the places that they are. I don't think they watch sports or know how anything works. If that's how they're gonna fucking do it, it's it's unbelievable. And here's another rant for you, big dog. There's I'm looking for opportunities in sports radio. You know, that would be cool. I'm finding fucking Twitter accounts and shit of people who are in sports radio who are like bummed that college football happened this year. Was it worth it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was worth it. It was freaking awesome. And
I would have been.
it's just
I'm glad it happened
why do people just want to suck the life out of everything?
because people suck,
They
Brian.
just
So many
fucking
people
suck.
suck.
This is a quote for you. My grandpa said to me, Charles Robbins. It said 95% of the people you meet in this world are gonna fucking suck. He didn't say fucking. I'm adding that in. So you got to be thankful for that 5%. And I would take him one further. I would say 99.99% of the people in this world
9.8.
suck, but 0.001 don't. So you hold on to those ones. That's what I would say. Oh, listen to this story, big dog. So we're at um a week or two ago went out to lovely Stinson Beach, you know, and we're all
Okay.
COVID negative, took some tests, so we're all good there. And we're on this big beach, right? Wind going, big beach, spread out playing wiffle ball. And you would say during these COVID times, yes, it's tough, but we're all outside, socially distanced, doing it, right? And so we play some great wiffle ball, great wiffle ball, big dog. And then towards the end, I'm headed back. Good friend of the program, Eric Robinson, and good friend of the program, Mitchell Rincon, are just playing some catch. Mitch sends one a little above Eric, and so Eric runs to go get it. And this ball, I guess, rolls like, first of all, it's not like hopping, it's slowly rolling on sand, like 5 to 10 feet in front of this woman. And Eric runs over and is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She's like, "Is this your ball?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm so sorry. Went over my head." And then she kicks the ball into the ocean. And Eric just goes, "Oh." And then she looks at him and says, "I hope you all die from COVID."
Was she?
So she's a miserable fuck. I would just like to say that, and
Dude,
she's lucky I
she
wasn't
falls
there.
under
But
that category, that
I would.
99%.
My question to you, big dog, is if someone says that to you,
Are they a good
are
person?
you? Well, no, obviously, but are you allowed to be like, well, I hope you get hit by a truck, or I hope
I
you
hope you get
lose
struck
your
by
job.
lightning and then a
Like,
shark eats you.
because it's like you just said
Swim in
we
the
hope
bay.
we all die. So it's like, can I say that back to you? I don't know. It just seems like a double-edged sword. It's fucking
Yeah,
ridiculous.
if someone gives you a death threat, you should be able to respond with a death threat back, I feel like.
It's just ridiculous. Poor Eric obviously didn't say anything. He was like,
Just,
"Oh, I'm
just imagine his
sorry."
reaction. Oh. As he just watches this ball
The,
kicked in the water, like, oh,
yeah,
thanks.
but another knock on her. Yeah, ball didn't even go. Eric got the ball. Sucks to suck. Didn't even go. And keep in mind, that was my baseball.
Uh,
That was my baseball. That's the only baseball I have.
and kicked in the ocean. I'm sorry about that.
The wear and tear on that is going to increase drastically. I might have
Yeah.
to send her a bill. Um, yeah, that's been on my mind. I just like, I just people just fucking suck, bro. I mean, think about the life you have to live
To wish someone dies
to see a
by
ball
COVID.
roll by you and see
You're at the
people.
same place. Keep in mind, you're at the same
Yeah,
place
same
doing the
fucking
same
place.
thing. Just this ball happened to roll within 10 feet, hey, which is 6 feet is what we need. And it rolled
Thank you, Vic. Thank you.
7.8.
Thank you. Just
We were saying sorry. I mean, you was going to be a quick get out of the way, and then you had
maybe
to
she just
get,
hates gingers.
well, you know. Yeah,
Oh, I'm
maybe if
sorry,
you
Eric.
were Mitch picked up the ball.
Yeah, we sent Mitch over there. Maybe she would have acted a little differently.
Like, I
Um,
wish you guys never got COVID. I hope you live forever. And
I mean,
then
yeah, I mean, just the casual death threat to like 8 people. Pretty extreme. Pretty
at the
extreme.
same beach
Uh,
within
yeah.
like 50 feet. It's
Uh, yeah. Oh, all right. This has
unity.
been the Pineapple Couch with Rob episode 75. Big Dog has been here. We've had a great chat about a little NBA, a little NFL, and how to respond to a death threat on the beach. As always, we're sponsored by Miss Marley Sports Fishing, and a special shout out again to Reynolds Wrap for sponsoring this episode. Again, my famous lemon pepper chicken wings. You got to use the Reynolds Wrap. Big Dog, thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Sir, adios.